This pair of Apple AirPods Max have an issue that keeps them from connecting to any device. And attempting to perform a factory reset on them by holding down on the noise control button and the digital crown for about 12 seconds displays 3 amber light blinks without a series of final pulsating white blinks. I took off the headbands with a SIM eject pin tool and proceeded to clean the headband connectors and the insides of the ear cups, just to see if it would resolve the issue. But the issue persisted. Next, I tried isolating the problem by connecting each ear cup to a functional pair of AirPods Max, and this revealed that the right ear cup was the one in need of repair. I suspect that the headband jack flex ribbon cable connectors are worn out. So in this video, I will be replacing the right headband jack flex ribbon cable. This replacement part can be purchased online on eBay or on AliExpress. I take off the right ear cup with a SIM card eject pin. And I unscrew the screws using a Torx T3 screw bit. The lower right and top left screws open anti-clockwise, while the lower left and top right screws open clockwise, all at a 90-degree turn. The ear cups have some glue that hold the inner cover in place, and I use a thin plastic sheet to separate the glue. Doing this requires some patience and determination, and could also be performed with a heat source if you feel comfortable with doing so. I gently lift the inner cover and I use a Torx T2 bit to unscrew the flex cable, attaching the cover to the board. I use a pair of tweezers to lift the metal bracket and I release the connector. Next, I unscrew and take off the speaker driver. Be careful with the speaker driver as it is really sensitive to touch and can easily be pressed in or damaged if bumped into. The speaker driver is held down by 4 screws. 3 of the screws require a Torx T3 screw bit, while the last screw requires a special screw bit that looks like this. It could also be unscrewed using a device with a flat end like this spatula, if you don't have the specialized screw bit for it. Once the screws are unscrewed, the speaker driver can be lifted out. I take off the screws holding down the battery bracket. And I remove the bracket with a pair of tweezers. There are 6 screws holding down the battery. 3 screws on the left and 3 screws on the right. This screw requires a Torx T2 screw bit, while this screw requires a Torx T5 screw bit. On the opposite side of the ear cup, this screw requires a Torx T2 screw bit. This screw requires a Torx T3 screw bit, while this screw in the corner requires a Torx T5 screw bit. There is a connector here that needs to be released before attempting to take out the battery. Once this connector is taken off, I lift out the battery. The headband flex jack ribbon cable is connected to the main board. So, next I work on unscrewing the main board. I begin by taking off this connector with a tweezer. Next, I take off these two screws with a Torx T2 screw bit. And I lift out this bracket. I disconnect these two connectors and unscrew the two screws that hold down the main board with a Torx T3 screw bit. I can now take out the board and disconnect the headband jack flex ribbon cable from the board. All of the screws located in this area would require a Torx T2 screw bit. First, I unscrew these two screws that hold down the cable bracket. Next, I unscrew this single screw here. I lift out this bracket with a tweezer. Next, I unscrew these two screws. I intend to unscrew one of the screws completely and the other screw halfway, just enough to release the headband jack flex ribbon cable connector and lift it out. Once the headband jack flex ribbon cable connector head is unscrewed, I inspect the headband jack flex ribbon cable connectors and they are worn out just as I had suspected. In this condition, choosing to clean and reuse it might not be helpful, so I will be replacing it. I have here the replacement headband jack flex ribbon cable. I detach this bracket that holds down the cable from the old headband jack flex ribbon cable. And I screw it back in the ear cup. I take off this screw. I detach the old flex cable from this metal piece. And I proceed to attach the new cable. There is still some adhesive on this metal piece that can hold the new flex in position. Next, I screw back the headband jack flex ribbon cable head in place. I replace the bracket over the flex and I also screw it back in place. I fixed the cable back in this holding bracket and I proceed to replace the main board, the battery, the speaker driver, and finally the inner ear cup. When all the parts of the ear cup have been replaced in their proper positions, I proceed to test out the AirPods to see if they function properly. The factory reset now gives 3 amber blinks with a series of final pulsating white blinks to indicate the pairing mode, and I am able to connect the AirPods successfully to my iPad. I also tested the sound and noise cancellation functions, and they all work excellently, just as I had expected. If you found this video helpful, kindly leave me a like and subscribe to the channel for more helpful videos. If you have any comments or questions concerning this repair, you could leave them in the comments. Thank you for watching and do have a blessed and excellent day. Bye for now.